Alright, this is going to be a bit of a shorter video. I apologize, I'm still feeling a little under the weather, so if my voice is bad, that is why. But today, I'm not exactly showing a build order per se. I am showing you, however, kind of how I like to play the game. So I play a whole lot of Jurchens, I play a lot of Cav Civs. Burgundians have been kind of the flavor of the month for me. I've been enjoying playing a whole lot of Burgundians. And pretty much all I'm going to be doing here is showing you my style of gameplay, what I like to try and do, why I do things, and you can, pick it apart. Tell me if you think I'm doing things wrong, or if I'm doing things right. Maybe you can take away something for yourself, for your own gameplay. So a couple things to note. My Dark Age, could always, sorry, a little alarm going off there. Could always be a little bit improved. I don't really scout that much with sheep. I just send a sheep to kind of grab whatever dark patches of the map my scout is not getting, as I let him just go around and around and around. Once I hit 6 vills on sheep, I like to send my 7th to get the boar. This is personal preference. I find I am typically able to get plenty of wood beside that fact, and I also keep myself from being lamed from any opponents, so I really like grabbing the boar on the 7th vill. Then I'll send a vill to go build a house and then start on a lumber camp. We're going to go 3 on wood. Now this is pretty much stock standard gameplay. I think all of you do something very similar as I do, at least in the Dark Age. And so, yeah, there's nothing too different there. The only major difference I will point out is that I did go grab the boar with my 7th vill, which is pretty quick. Now, we're grabbing all of our sheep. This is not going to be a deer map, so I will kind of long distance these chickens. I don't really like to mill chickens that much, especially if there's not 8 of them. So after we get the 3 on wood, we send out the next vill to get the next boar. This one's not quite done yet, but it's almost finished, so I feel like it's good enough to take the TC, drop the vills, and start taking both these boars. So I like to pull them in very quick. As you can see, I'm not going to be lamed by my opponent. That's just a comfort thing for me. I do it all the time. Now, we've got a whole bunch under food. Food. Goodness me, English you'd think is my second language. Now we're going to start sending a couple over. Typically you'd want a better lure so that you could get more vills around that board, but I put a little too close to the base of the TC, so we're going to put some on the sheep. We're going to go until we're about 15 vills, and then I send the next 2 vills to berries. So the reason I like to do this is because it's just easy for me to remember. 14 vills, 15 pop. So at 15 pop, then I send 2 over to berries, and the reason for this is because I get up to 17 pop with 2 on berries, and then the next 2 can go to wood, which puts me at 5 on wood, and that is 19 pop, and that's when I like to click up. So we're still scouting around with the scout. I should probably be scouting my opponent a little bit here, since I know I have chickens instead of deer, so there's really no reason to be extra checking the whole entire map. So the scouting here is kind of lame. I do see some neutral deer though. It could be handy to push those in. If I ever do have deer, it just kind of speeds up my, not feudal age or anything, it speeds up potentially my castle age. More than anything, it just allows me to get more scouts on the map. That's kind of how I utilize deer whenever I get those on my maps. So this was a normal game. I felt kind of bad. I didn't want to I was trying to just streamline my build order, and this is like the perfect rendition. I did it a bunch against the AI, and then I realized, I want to make sure I can actually do it against a real opponent, but I wasn't brave enough to take it into ranked right away. So I went to play a single game, quick play, and I feel a little bad for my opponent because he is definitely not getting a fair match with this game. So we click up to feudal, and as you maybe noticed there, we send 2 vills over to wood, so we have 7 on wood. I like to throw an extra vill on a tree. I will do this depending on the civ. As you can see, I just grabbed double bit axe, so it's gonna make my choppers chop a whole lot faster. That is a Burgundian specific thing, so this is a slight deviation. I like to throw another vill on wood just to make sure I have enough wood to get my stable and everything else on my way up to, or the moment I hit feudal age. So we're gonna be having this barracks being built, barracks in a house, pretty standard. And I am gonna be long distance these chickens with 2 vills. I mean, honestly, I kind of just use chickens to delay the amount, or how quickly I take my sheep. So that's, I don't know, they're gonna be doing what they do. If I hit 8 chickens, I might go for a mill. It depends on their placement. This one I could pretty easily wall in, so maybe I would end up going for that. My opponent's not too far behind me on the age up, but the moment we age up, I've got 2 villagers over here. I took one from the berries. We're going to get started on that stable. My opponent could have potentially been a little rude to me. Luckily, he was not. Battery just wasn't paying attention. I like to build the stable with 2 villagers. I just like to get it out that much faster. I have also made sure, as Burgundians, to grab my horse collar. I tend to do that with every civ. I like to go immediately horse collar and, well, double bit axe first every single time. That's just the strongest eco tech to grab early on. And then I like to go horse collar before I put down any farms. And even if that means putting a few more bills on berries, it's just, I don't know. I like doing it. It's probably not the most efficient thing in the world, but oh well. Now we instantly start pumping out a couple of scout cav here. And typically with a cleaner, like, boiler or maybe if I get deer pushed in, I'm able to easily pump out 4 or 5 scouts. This time I'm just gonna hit 3. So that's something that is a little different from what I typically do, is I typically have a whole lot more scouts coming out at this time. Now we are starting to collect a little bit of TC idle time there. I was pretty good, only 1 second, and now I'm up to 21 seconds. My opponent's actually doing better than me. He's a more clean Dark Age into Feudal Age here, so kudos to him. We are taking a little bit of damage. We're just going to be running out of space for now. This is when we start throwing down a whole lot of farms. So in order to get to Castle Age pretty quickly, you do want to be putting down farms pretty much every time you have the res for it. Now at the same time, you still want to be able to have wood for walling, additional houses. I'm putting another gate there. I probably don't need 2 gates. That's a little excessive. I do lose a scout there on the wood line to my opponent, so not the best scout rush from us here, but again, I'm kind of paying attention to my eco. I really want to make sure I fine-tune this build order of mine, which again, it's not the point of the video, but I do want to kind of show the style that I've been playing. So I do something very similar to this with Jerchins, and pretty much any Cav Civ I like to play. Scout rush, I'm going to start supplying with a couple more scouts because I have a little excess food, and I like to delay my Castle Age. So, and what I mean by that is I'm not getting a ton of pressure from my opponent, though I do see he's on 2 range, so we're definitely going to want to be getting a archery range here down pretty quickly if we can remember to do that. Regardless, I like to go a few more scouts. We're going to grab a spearman. I almost went for Flemish militia, but then I realized he was going archers, and it looks like he's not pumping out scouts, so we cancel those Flemish militia and spearmen. I really shouldn't be putting a blacksmith down. I should be putting down an archery range, so that's definitely a bit of a flaw in my play. But yeah, I like to delay my my Castle Age, because whenever I try to go really quick to a Castle Age, let's say you do like 3 or 4 scouts, and you're starting scout, and you just try to do a little harass, and then you just go straight to Castle Age as fast as possible. You probably get there in like 18 minutes, sub 20, easy. But what I've found is I typically don't have enough enough villagers at that time to sustain the economy I want once I enter Castle Age. So you can, it depends on the, I guess, unit comp or Castle Age units you want to start pumping out. I like to go rather aggressive the moment I hit Castle Age. I don't really like throwing down TCs right away. So for me, I'm going to be trying to do 2 stable knights. Now, Burgundians, I like to try and do 2 stable cavalier because they get cavalier pretty early and it's cheaper. Luckily, our upgrades as Burgundians kind of make do with that, but I still like to go up just a couple more vills. Right now, 32 is not quite enough. For me, the magic number, at least on Burgundian so far, has been 38. I can throw 12 on gold and 18 on farms. I like to tend to go a little bit more on the farms there. Just because I like having an excess in food so that I can make skirms or whatever else is needed. And then 8 would be on the trees. That's kind of the ideal economy composition that I want to have started with at this stage of the game. So this is something that I do differently than most people, is I don't go for wheelbarrow when I click up to Castle Age. I don't click wheelbarrow and then click Castle Age. I see a lot of people do that, especially at the higher level. I don't think it's really worth it until you get a lot more farms. I don't know. For me, the marker's near 20 farms, so I'm almost to that point. But, and especially as the Burgundians, I think you can get away with it even more so, just because it's cheaper. But yeah, I just don't find wheelbarrow that. I don't know. I prefer the higher villager numbers. Tell me if you think that's wrong or good or what. I know that wheelbarrow, mainly its eco bonus, helps for the most part with farming, and I'm not really struggling with farming at that stage in the game, so I feel like it's a decent decision to go for myself. Now, we are making a bunch of skirms, so that's because I saw my opponent on 2 ranges. So we want to be prepared to defend from those 2 ranges. He should have been forward by now, and this is again why I say I think it was just unfortunate for him to get queued against me. I'll probably stay away from queuing on quick play just because there's either not a lot of people there or it's just really not good at matching you with similar skilled opponents. I typically like to try and have a marketplace by now, but I did not do that. I instead went for the range, so I didn't have the wood for a marketplace, but marketplace is really nice, especially if you want to just sell a little bit extra stone to work your way up to castle. On our way up to castle, I'm going to make sure I've got my second wood upgrade. I think I grabbed that earlier, and eventually, oh no, we haven't yet. For now, we're getting our Cav upgrades. We'll get the second wood upgrade here soon, I'm sure, and then probably once we enter Castle Age, I'll make sure to get this gold mining tech as well. It just makes all your gold miners, what, 20% faster? So really, really good tech to go. I like to grab my second stable on my way up. Now, I am still hanging around his base, trying to keep him honest, keep him at home. I don't want these archers coming and hitting me, though I think they will be on their way. There they are. Pretty soon here, we kind of don't notice each other and walk right past each other. He's got a much larger group of archers. These skirms would be much better behind my base, but again, my opponent doesn't notice. To be fair, I'm just as bad as him because I didn't notice either. And so we have a slight good answer there to the skirms, but Castle Age will be soon upon us, and we have the economy spread we want. We've got 10 on gold. Ideally, I want 12, but I have excess gold banked up, so we'll just send new vills 2 gold. 18 on farms, which is the magic number of farms. I'll still probably grab a couple extra farms. So a little bit more on wood than I typically need, but still, this is the economy I want. That's why I like to delay that feudal age time. As you can see, I'm instantly clicking Cavalier, and I am pumping knights out of this other stable. We made sure to grab our first cavalry upgrades. We did get our second wood upgrade over here, and I should be clicking this mining tech here any moment now. Maybe I didn't, I just didn't notice it. Where is this at? Yep, okay, we got it. So then I just head forward with my army, and I have, at this point, with this economy spread, just a pure stable production of knights headed out. So I'm quite happy with that. Man, I can't get rid of this at all. And I just stream 2 stable knight, 2 stable cavalier in this instance into my opponent's base and try and slow them down as much as possible. Now I'm going to pause it here because my opponent will GG pretty quickly, and I don't blame him for doing it. Again, outclassed, it's not his fault. I feel bad. I probably won't queue up again, but I do want to quickly look at my eco and kind of say the plan from here on out. So I like to stay on 1 TC for a while until I notice how many TCs my opponent is going for. Potentially, I'm doing enough damage with knights that I can actually just end the game with 1 TC. If I see him throw down a second TC, I like to pressure harder with 1 town center play, maybe add a 3rd stable. It depends on what my economy looks like. I am always going to be adding villagers, but sometimes you get opponents in your base and things get a little bit crazy. Regardless, the moment I see him put down 3 town centers, I'm going to throw down my second. Once I feel comfortable, my economy's booming, I'm going to throw down a 3rd. And then I typically try to boom and get like a really high vill count before I end up going Imperial. I think that's my biggest weakness, at least in the late game, is I tend to have a rather late Imperial age. So that's something I need to improve on. But for team games, it works out pretty well because I'm able to have a really, really strong cavalry knight / push, at least in Castle Age. Especially with the civs I like to play, Burgundians being one of those, and then my ally in team games is able to play archers and get a much quicker Imperial Age time than I am, and so that tends to work out for me in team games, which I do play for the most part. But either way, in 1v1, that's kind of the play. I like to try and end games in Castle Age, and that's the whole build order leading up to it. So I mean, that wasn't a super detailed build order. I don't know if you could follow it like an actual build order. I still just kind of wanted to show off my playstyle, what I did. And then see what you guys think. Is there things I'm doing wrong? Is there things I could be doing better? Let me know. And if you enjoyed it and you think, hey, I kind of want to try that, then hey, give it a go yourself. But that's kind of the quintessential recipe for me. It's a 19 pop scout rush into a whole lot of farms, and then 38 pop, well not 38 pop, but 38 vill. I will, around 38, sometimes it's 40. With Churchins, I actually go up quicker, like 34, just because I don't need as many res for 2 stable, either light cav or step lancers, so they're cheaper than knights. So sometimes that changes, but either way, that's how I like to play. Again, talking a little too much. Hopefully you did enjoy watching that. I'll let you go, and we'll talk to you later.